And we are live and on the air. Welcome to the Six Pack. I am still Town Tony Brown. I will be your host for this whole season, and we're going to get started just by giving a couple things that we're going to be doing. The first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is that a lot of people ask me, they say, well, why do you go by Still Town, or do you go by Downtown, or what's with the name? Well, just to clarify what Still Town is, as you know, uh, Pittsburgh is a still city. Pittsburgh's definitely a city, but Steeler Nation is made up of a lot of still towns. I'm talking Braddock, Homewood, Wilkinsburg, Sharpsburg, Uniontown. I could go on and name the still towns, the Mon Valley that make up Steeler Nation, not just here around the Pittsburgh and the suburbs of Pittsburgh, but pretty much all over the country and all over the world. There's still towns everywhere, and a still town person is down home. They go to work, they put on their hats and their boots and their jeans, and they get their hands dirty. And this is what makes up Steeler Nation. And when I say Steel Town, I go by Steel Town Tony Brown because I was raised in Braddock. I moved to Penn Hills. I've been a Pittsburgher my whole life. I've bled black and gold, and most of my friends and most of you guys out there are the exact same way. So when I refer to myself as Steel Town in the third person, as my wife puts it, I'm basically representing you guys. The thing about this channel is I feel that we are under recognized in our own market. I mean, there's an AM market that seems that they don't give us the time of day or don't want our opinions. They want national people. They want people that gamble and bet and fantasy football. Nothing about being a diehard Steeler fan. Some of these cats aren't even from around here. They come in from another market, and then they still try to understand what it's like to be a Steeler fan. We know what it's like to be a Steeler fan. So this Steel Town 101, it's by us, for us, and we all contribute together. Now, you guys know me. I like to get on my rants, and I'll get on my pet peeves, and what I do is debate. So I challenge you and invite you, more importantly, to send in your questions. I want to give you just as much time as you give me, because the one thing about Steeler fans, we love to eat and we love to debate. So let's get all started. I got a couple topics just to get us kicked off and ready to go. The first one was, what is the standard? You hear this talking about all the time. What is the standard? What is the Steelers standard? You hear a lot of people say that the Steelers no longer have a standard, that their standard is mediocrity, their standard is not winning playoff games. The Steelers' standard is being excellent, being a team, being high quality, being up front, not being Hollywood, but being just like Steel Town, being hard-nosed, faithful, and pretty much nose on the grindstone. What does that mean? Well, it basically means the standard is the standard. We have a certain standard that we expect. We expect to go into our stadium and we expect to win more than we lose. We expect to win a Super Bowl every year. We expect our players to be Pittsburgh Steelers, not to be arrogant, not to be outlandish, not to bring a bad light on Pittsburgh or the city or the team. That is the standard. Now, do you always win a Super Bowl every year? No. But even my podcast, it's called The Six Pack. Why? Because, well, it definitely ain't because of my six pack, but it's because we have 6 Super Bowls in the new era, or in the Super Bowl era, and no one else has more. That means we've done it right more than anybody else. The standard has to maintain the standard for the Steelers to maintain the Steelers. No, we haven't won a playoff game in 9 years since 2016. And people say that that's the standard, is losing playoff games. But I beg to differ. I say it's been about 9 years since we were the standard. See, there used to be a standard. We're playing hard-nosed football. We're playing hard-nosed football. Let me turn my watch off here. And it'd be different if it was anything else but a telemarketer. I get them too, my fault. But anyway, we haven't won a playoff game in over 9 years, since 2016. As a matter of fact, I go back to that whole playoff run because we lost the AFC Championship game, and we lost that game to New England. But the prior two playoff games that we did win, we won with the standard. The standard was hard-nosed defense, hard-hitting defenses, powerful running games, and adequate quarterback play. When I say adequate quarterback play, I say big throws at big times, but we weren't throwing the ball for 300, 400 yards. As a matter of fact, in the game that we won against Kansas City, which would be the last playoff game we won, I don't believe there was a touchdown pass thrown in that game. I think that we went on over 200 yards of Le'Veon Bell and 5 field goals to defeat Kansas City in Kansas City. Then the playoff game that started the string of losses was when we went to New England. We had our franchise quarterback. We had our number one receiver, but we lacked our number one running back, who was injured in the first quarter. Thus, we lost that game. And that's going to be pretty much a trend for the next 9 years, that without a competent running game and having to sling the ball around and throwing 400 yards or 300 yards was not what got us wins. As a matter of fact, we haven't won since that Le'Veon Bell game. So if we're getting back to the standard being the standard, then a powerful running game, adequate quarterback play without turnovers, and a staunch defense would be the answer. What makes me mad is when other teams try to say that the Steelers are trying to be like the Ravens are good for that. The Steelers are trying to be like the Ravens. No, if you have been around football as long as I have, you'll know when the Ravens came into the league, they modeled themselves after the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they won it. And their first Super Bowl, by the way, was Pittsburgh style. They had a no-name quarterback, a very stingy defense, and a very nice running game. Sound familiar? Let's fast forward 25 years later, and let's look at how the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, because that's another team that they're saying right now is being built. The Steelers are trying to build themselves like the Eagles. So let's see. They have a powerful running game, an outstanding defense, and a quarterback that can make big throws at big times, but not throw for 300, 400 yards per game. Sound familiar? That is the standard. And I'll be happy to be the first one to let you know, if you look at the last 2 years of drafts by Omar Khan and Tomlin, you'll notice that they're going back and they're bringing in players that fit the standard. You'll also notice that they're getting rid of players that don't fit the standard. So let's go ahead and look into that, and let's talk about the draft a little bit. And I'm going to go back 2 years because building the Steelers back up to a superpower is going to take a little bit more than one draft. They had to retool their whole offensive line and their whole defensive line. They made strides last year. Remember, this team was 9-3 at one point until they hit the gauntlet and went into their slide. They went into their slide mainly because of their offensive and their defensive line. The offensive line had too many second-year players, too many rookies. They definitely hit the rookie wall, especially the interior of their line, and you could see it. Towards the end, we could not develop a running game against the stronger teams in the NFL, and that posed a problem. Without a running game, did not score. But it wouldn't have mattered, because we also wore down our defensive line. That's the bigs. Our bigs were not good enough. You have older players that ran out of gas, and you didn't have a good rotation to keep them fresh. with that being said, the last 2 years of the draft, the year before, of course, they went heavy with the offensive line. This year, they went heavy with the defensive line to add mass and to add a good rotation so that what happened to us at the end of last year will not repeat itself. Remember, when you look at making a team or building a team or rebuilding a team, you have to look at the way the team finishes, because that's the closest thing to reality that you have. Now, I know Tolman's going to say every season is a new season, every season, but you still build off of your shortcomings from last year. And that's why I'm very high on the draft. I'm high on the draft basically because of the fact that they seem to have taken care of their needs. Now, let's talk about the needs on the offensive line. Offensive line really needed their first round draft choice to be moved over. I think by flipping your tackles and just letting your young guards and center mature, the offensive line is going to be fine on its own. The defensive line with Y.A. Black and, of course, the Derek Hammond, you got the first round draft choice coming in. Fantastic player. If you got to see him at Oregon, or if you've seen any tape on him, you know he's a get up field, put pressure on it. He's kind of in the mold of Haywood. It really is. And this is something that I guess we can say will be the depth at the end, because he can not only spell Haywood, but he can also work on the other side with Keanu Benton, which gives a nice 3-man. And then you have your Loudermilks and whatnot as your rotation. That also gives a big guy like Y.A. Black, someone who on first and second downs will just be a run staple. Remember, it doesn't matter what your offense is doing. If you let an offense run 299 yards on you like the Ravens did in the playoff game, then no quarterback's going to win that game, because the time of possession and control of the line of scrimmage is being won by the other team. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the wide receiver room. Wide receiver room, we lost the big guy, George Pickens, but we picked up DK Metcalf. I would call that talent-wise almost a wash, but I would also call getting rid of Pickens being an addition by subtraction. Are they better in the receiver room talent-wise? No. But are they better in the room standard-wise? That's unselfish play. That's giving it all for your team, winning it for the city of Pittsburgh. I think we're all in agreement that we are 100% better in that room. Keep in mind that that room also has a lot of young, impressionable receivers coming in. You have your Wilsons, you have your Austins. These guys need to be able to see what it's like to be a professional, not what it's like to be someone who is selfish. That brings me to the running back room. Fantastic. When we picked up Johnson, we picked up a back that has great vision. I've been looking at his highlights, and I see a lot of the patience that I seen in Le'Veon Bell's highlights when he was back at Michigan State. Not saying that he's a finished pro or that he's a polished pro. What I am saying is, behind an adequate offensive line, he seems to have great vision, good burst speed, and the ability to be able to hit the home run, which Najee Harris didn't have. Although he could carry the ball a lot, he just did not have that home run, that home run vision, I would like to call it, or that the top speed. We also have Jaylen Warren's back, and he's here to prove. He looks like he's working hard. I'm excited to see that 1-2 combination along with the other free agent acquisitions. Now, as we move on to the quarterback, we might as well stop here for a second, because this is what everybody wants to know. Where's Waldo? I mean, not Waldo. Where's Aaron Rodgers? Well, if you watched our earlier show, you know I am not in the camp of bring Aaron Rodgers in. I do not think he meets the standard of all. We've seen over the last 9 years what bad leadership at quarterback can do to a team. And I don't think by bringing another questionable leader into the Steeler quarterback room, no matter what his talent is in the best interest of the Pittsburgh Steelers. First of all, it's only for 1 year. So if you think that the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers can win a Super Bowl this year, then have at it. I understand your point. But if you think that the standard would not be the standard by having someone come in, we don't need a gunslinger. Let me say that again. We don't need a gunslinger. Remember, the last time we won a playoff game, it was, I believe it was 15-9, I want to say, and there was 5 field goals. We had a running back that went for almost 200. That's what you need in a playoff game. You need a Saquon Barkley. You need someone like that, and that is Steeler football. I looked at the last 3 games that Mason Rudolph played, and before you guys start poo-pooing me, Mason Rudolph had an excellent 4-game run. And when I say 4-game run, they went to Buffalo and was in the game in the 4th quarter. It was a 1-score game. All kind of things went wrong in that game, starting with the snowstorm. But with that being said, the Steelers played very, very good complementary football over the last 4 games of the season. And I look forward, and that's what I look at Mason Rudolph. When I look at Mason Rudolph, I look at him, can he operate the Steelers offense in the way that they need to operate it? Yes, he most certainly can. Then we have Will Howard. Now, 6th-round draft choice, you know, I'm trying real hard not to get over my skis, but I'm going to lean over a little bit forward. I think the dude has the intangibles. He's like all the other draft choices. And if you listen to the draft choices, all they talk about is the fact that these teams, they all have the same thing. All the players have the same thing in common. Number one, they understand and they want to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. Just watch when the Pittsburgh Steelers call them, their emotion that they go through. They're all team leaders, team captains, good locker room people. This has been the trend of Omar Khan over his first 2 years of drafting, and I like to see him stay with it. By the way, if you want to know what I'm looking at over the back of my shoulder, this is probably one of the best games if you want to get a real good bearing of the draft picks. This is the Ohio State Iowa game, where we have exactly 6 players from our draft that are in here if you include the free agent. So if you want to see Howard at quarterback, if you want to see Y.A. Black, if you want to see Johnson running, this is an excellent game to watch them play against stiff competition. Very good game. That's what I'm watching. I just want to go out on a limb to say I want to welcome you guys. What I want you to do is just send in your questions. Just post them to Steeltown 101 or Steeltown 360. I guarantee you I'll start getting them, handling them, and I will address you personally for every question that you have. Again, this was just a short first time out and running. Welcome to Steeltown. I want to welcome all of you from all over the world in the Steeltown, because we're all Steeltowners. Peace. And until the next time, I'll see you next week.